How's it going, CP? Just how has your acclimation been? What's the process been like getting here and getting up to speed with the SEC?
Um, it's been great. Coming in, the guys took me in. I've been learning a lot under Coach Gray. Been thrown under the fire in practice, and it's just been great.
What's going on, CP?
What's going on?
What has that transition kind of been like for you? Because I think a lot of people naturally think, regardless of what conference or division you come from, but that background of having multiple defensive coordinators, different head coaches at Assumption, how much has that helped your transition so far?
I think it helped a lot. Back at Assumption, I've gone through a lot of coach changes with defensive coordinators and corner coaches, so I had to learn and adapt fast. And coming here, a lot of defenses is the same, but just different terminology. So, I just been around the different type of techniques and all that, and I adapted pretty well.
The short times that we've been out there, I think seen you mostly at nickel. Have you played any cornerback as well, or what's sort of your work right now?
Yeah, so right now I'm really focusing on nickel. I am getting some corner reps here and there, but right now the primary focus is getting nickel.
And how do you feel that's come along for yourself?
I think this is going on good. Practice-wise, I've pretty much gotten a pick almost every practice. There's a lot of just mental stuff that I'm not getting right now, but that's the point of practice. That's the point of film. You get it down later in the day, and then when practice comes tomorrow, you correct that mistake.
CP, just what do you feel like your skill set? How do you feel like your skill set really translates to playing nickel in this defense?
Just physicality. Just coming up, taking on blocks. Making hits. Covering the slot. The slot's smaller, quicker guys, and I get my hands on them, pressing them. Yeah, I think that's.
And you mentioned just the mental aspect of it. What's been the biggest challenge for you mentally trying to come in here and learn Coach Gray and Coach White's defense?
Just pretty much just learning nickel. I've always played corner at Assumption, and just being moved to nickel and just being able to learn. I'm more around the ball, and less on the island, but more on the ball, and just trying to learn it. Yeah.
CP, you, Tyrese, and Karan, all transfers coming in here. Do you guys view yourselves as the leaders of the secondary, the guys that should be out there by example since you played it before?
Us three coming in, we're all new to the program, new to the defense. We're all just taking it one step at a time. We're all pretty much older guys, so we do try to take that leadership role. But, we're all just new to the defense, and, everybody been learning the defense since the spring, and us coming in, we're trying to get up to speed with everything, and we've been doing a great job so far.
Hey, Carlins, in terms of the speed of the game, I mean, I know we always hear about the jump from high school to college to pro, right? Like, is there any difference in the speed in terms of what you're seeing? And if so, what's that kind of adjustment been like, and how do you feel like you've kind of taken to it?
I don't think there's not a big jump from D2 to the SEC. The one difference is probably, D2, there'll probably be like one or at most two really good receivers that you'll really see on a team. But playing in the SEC, it's almost like all four guys that's out there is, those guys. So, I think that's pretty much like the only difference. But, I don't think there's any difference. Football is football. You got to be an athlete out there.
How do you balance, maybe probably going back to maybe your days at Everett, knowing that you're coming in here, you haven't sat behind people too long, and now you're trying to come out here, you're trying to be able to compete for one of these roles, but you're one of the new guys. How do you kind of find that balance of being the guy that obviously is older than some of these freshmen or sophomores, but at the same time, too, you're newer to this program?
Yeah, I don't think it's really much of a balance. I just come in and just try to do my part. I am an older guy, and I am new to the defense, but I'm just trying to learn my role and just play my part and compete with the other guys, and Pretty much, yeah.
Hey, Carlins, I know that football's football, but heat is heat. You know, coming from Massachusetts, just kind of how have you been getting adjusted to the weather down here?
Yeah, it's really hot down here. You know, at Assumption, we used to practice at like 2 o'clock, which was like the hottest time of the day, but it's nothing compared to here. Yeah, you know, the heat really gets to you in practice, and later in the periods down the stretch in practice, you know, you just got to talk to yourself, and you got to remind yourself that, you know, you're that guy, and you're out here for a reason, and yeah, you just got to keep going.
Who were some of the, I guess, primary guys you've had to cover, and what are your impressions of some of those guys that you've been going up against when you're covering slot receivers?
Yeah, you know, all of our receivers are great receivers. Off the line, you know, on their routes, you know, them being able to play the ball. I didn't see a lot, too much of it at my old school, but you know, being here and seeing all the different skill sets that people have, you know, it's been a challenge, but you know, it's been good for the most part.
Did you mention the heat? Are there any other? What are some of the other big culture shocks you've gotten kind of moving down here in the weeks you've been here?
I remember one of the first weeks I was here, some of the guys said that 55 degrees was cold, and like in Massachusetts, 55 degrees, everybody would be outside playing basketball in shorts, like. So, you know, that's one of those things. There was another time where we was conditioning, and it was kind of raining and some wind, and everybody was saying it was cold too. I'm out there, shirt off, I'm hot. Yeah, you know.
Carlins, you've repped against guys like Deontay Harris and others at Assumption. I mean, just how do you feel like that kind of helped you get to where you're at, and how much did, you know, seeing those guys day to day help you, and maybe help with the adjustment that you're going through now?
I think it helped a lot. Coming in my freshman year, we had a great receiver, Ashton Grant. Going against him every day, one-on-ones, the coach putting me out there against him, it was great. He was an older guy that I got to go against, and then when he left, being able to go against Deontay Harris, you know, he was smaller, but he was quick, and even that was a challenge in itself, being a bigger corner going against a smaller guy like him. But you know, they made me better. Those first 2 years at Assumption, the receivers that we had, they definitely got me better, and I think that's what helped me with the success I had over there. You know, they made it harder in practice than what I've seen in the games. And that's what our coaches try to emphasize a lot, of making it harder in practice than what it is in the game. And yeah, they did a tremendous job in just maturing me and helping me grow into the player I am right now.